On today's episode of Six Pack Cinema, we are reviewing John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Super assassin John Wick is on the run after killing a member of the International Assassins Guild, and with a $14 million price tag on his head, he is the target of hitmen and women everywhere.
Dude, you should review movies.
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, I've had a couple, so movie review.
Welcome to Six Pack Cinema. Thank you for joining us today. We are reviewing John Wick 3. If you're tuning in just because you watched John Wick and you want to hear people talk about it, we thank you. If you're a repeat customer and you've been on the Six Pack Cinema train for a while, thanks for stopping by and coming back. My name's Jimmy. I'm joined by John and Dave as always. How things work here on Six Pack Cinema is, first, we will give our gut reaction to the movie. Then we will talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, things like that. Then we will rate it on a two-pronged scale, one for entertainment value and one for critical. That's about it. Here we go. John, you go first. What's your gut reaction?
My gut reaction was sincere disappointment. I watched all three, just like you. I've never seen John Wick before this week, so I watched one every other day, and one, loved. Two, this one, I was just so out because it's always been stunt porn. This one has stunt porn, but it tried to be more, and it sucked. It was just stupid. It was stupid. That's the word we're going with.
All right.
This review is stupid.
Dave?
I liked it. I'll give my rundown thoughts on all three. I love the first one. The second one I was a little disappointed in because that one was like just stunts. There wasn't even like a basic plot for the most part. And then I like this one more than the second one because they actually brought a little bit of the plot back to it.
All right. So overall, you like it, though?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
I was excited to watch John Wick because it got such rave reviews, and I was like, everyone likes it. The first one, it was like, I enjoyed it until halfway through, and then it's just like 10-minute action sequences are not for me. I know that's just me personally, and this is made for people who like 10-minute action sequences. So I feel guilty almost even like voicing my opinion to anyone that tunes this in because they want to hear people talk about John Wick. It just couldn't be less for me. I agree with John that when the auctioneer or whatever that lady's name is, when she started coming and like, you have 7 days or shit's gonna go down, I was like, okay, plot, cool, let's see how this goes. There's story being told in this movie. And then it was maybe the lamest like 7-year-old boy fantasy story that could ever be told.
Yes.
I mean, if you asked a 7-year-old boy to draw up like a world of assassins, this is what he would say. So, not for me.
I think even the 7-year-old would think this. Maybe trudging after a elder in the desert until you can't trudge no more might be a stupid idea.
It's really lame. That's all I can say is like the actual story that I wanted to bite off because I don't care for the action. And like I was excited when she was giving them ultimatums and she was walking around. I was like, okay. And then like the desert stuff, the dog stuff, like I'll take your dog. No, you can't have my dog. Then I'll kill it. That's like an 8-year-old's writing.
I know. I was fine with the dog thing because
It's John Wick. The first movie, like the series, is based on a dog's death. So like,
sure.
I was like, okay,
I get
they're
that.
having fun with it.
It was a little
And I
hat tip,
liked
sure.
that about the first one. I loved that the first one, like I loved the plot of the first one because they're saying
Exactly.
they were in the first one they were almost saying like this, we're just making stunt porn, so let's make the story something silly that like is kind of, it's like almost an in joke in itself. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
all this
a
'cause of
retired
dog.
hitman goes on a murder spree because a dog in a car.
Yeah, so like they built
But they
this
gave
kind
good
of
meaning to
like.
it. Yeah.
So the first one built this kind of surreal, satirical world. Like a hitman's doing all this because of a dog. And then in this third one, to me, it seemed like they took the satirical side out of it and wanted you to actually think this was a badass world. And I was like,
Oh,
this
see,
is-
I think it's still like satirical. Like every part
Less
of it, I
than it
felt
was.
like it was making fun of action movies from the 80s. And just doing them.
I think originally it might have, Dave, but it definitely took a tone of like, wow, this people actually like this. We should probably try a little bit harder.
See, I disagree.
Without-
I think
without
what's his
losing
name?
its core.
The Asian guy who's actually the host of Iron Chef America. He
Oh, and number 3?
yeah, in number 3.
Zero.
He's like him
Okay.
being like Zero. Him being just like a fanboy, and like every time he wasn't fighting being like, "This is so cool! I'm such a big fan."
So
With like
stupid.
so much making fun of like all the fanboys who think this is like a serious film and like
Yeah.
serious franchise. Like they were clearly still mocking all that.
If you want to take it that way, I can see your path.
If you like stunts and action sequences, that's who this movie's for. The story is so lame.
But still, I can't even describe my thought process when they're going when they're in that room, that place where the guy was telling them about the elder. When he said that, it's like, you got to go to the desert, you got to walk to the end of the desert, and then you got to keep walking somewhere. I was like, this guy's fucking with him. This is hilarious. Actually, I thought I was enjoying that part.
was
And then he went to the
Ron,
fucking
too.
desert, and I was like, my hands were in the air. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. This was real.
Yeah.
So stupid. I can't get over that. Obviously, for me, that was a tipping point for when I totally gave up on it.
So I read a review that said that this movie was supposed to be like a mirror of Keanu's life because
That's stupid.
well, hear me out. Because Keanu is a famous actor but he seeks anonymity to be anonymous or not
anonymity.
Yeah, whatever that word
And,
is. Like he doesn't.
Fuck. I can't
Yeah,
say it
it's
now.
a tough one.
Anonymity.
He doesn't want anyone to know. He wants to live a normal life. And John Wick in this movie, the only place he could blend in was New York City. Everywhere else he went, everyone knew his name, and he's just seeking for solitude and to be able to be a normal person. And I was like, that's kind of cool, but I think that just like is happenstance. I don't think they were aiming for that because I don't think the writers of this wrote anything beside. This is porn. It's porn. Like the
Oh, it's 100% stunt porn, and it's written
The
and
plot-
directed by Keanu Reeves' stuntman from like the Matrix movies.
Yeah, it's the plot. It's the plot of a porn movie. Like the writing of the story and the underworld is the same as some porn movie.
Yeah,
It's
and
so
I mean,
bad.
I know that girl with the short hair. She was not in the Matrix, but having a girl with the short hair wearing all black next to Morpheus, next to Keanu Reeves, it was like watching the Matrix but in a shittier version.
See, I walked out and I was like, I turned to my buddy I saw it with, and I said, I'm all in on them like for John Wick 4 casting. What's his name? The guy who played Agent Smith.
Oh, that guy.
Hugo
Yeah.
So is he
Weaving.
dead? Is Keanu dead?
No.
No, because he doesn't die because it's stupid.
So
He gets
they're
shot
not.
5 times and
They're
falls
not
off a
like
building.
in some underworld. I thought that was like they're in like another life.
No. He fell on the street, and the bum picked him up and put him in the trash can and dragged him to this little hut down, like a little underworld empire. And they're gonna get revenge on the table. What was it called?
The
Was,
high table.
The high table.
and
Was
the
Ian
friend.
Ian McShane's character? Was he Winston at the end
Yes.
when he shot him? He was intending to kill him.
I think he was like he thought he would die, but he also because he didn't choose to kill him earlier, that he was like he purposely like backed him towards an edge where he knew there would be like things for him to hit on the way down, and there was a chance he could survive.
But the whole movie starts with him not killing him because they're friends and giving him a head start,
Yep.
and then it ends with him just killing him.
And there's also the point, like 20 minutes before that, when they're downstairs and Winston has a gun, and John Wick is not looking. He could have shot on the back of the head and be done with it.
Well, at that point, he still wouldn't have gotten his hotel back.
I think killing the guy that they're after shows a gesture of good faith. Way more than starting a little war and killing all of their little people. I mean, that in no way did they think, oh, hey, that was an excellent show of force. We're going to let you keep your job.
Except they do think that. They literally said that was
Except it's
that at
shitty
the end.
writing.
Well,
But I mean,
okay,
you
so
can't say they don't think that when that literally, like, it may be shitting writing, But
That's
that
what I'm
is
saying.
what they think.
The logic isn't there. That's what I'm saying.
I don't. It's a movie where there clearly has to be like so many assassinations going on every hour in the world for this community to exist. You kind of have to throw logic out the window.
Oh, I know. I did, but it's hard not to think like that though.
So you guys, I don't know what level you guys like the fight scenes and stuff. Is there scenes you like moves or the horse shit or the motorcycle or the like?
I thought the horse stuff was funny. I just enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really liked the fight at the end when it was the two guys from the Raid movies against him. And they were like clearly just big fans of his, and they were like, see, he's getting old. He's been retired for 5 years, and would like help him up and let him catch his breath before they continued the fight.
Yeah.
Just from like a purely like stunt porn way. Like, 'cause
Yeah,
those
no,
guys
that was-
are, I don't know if you guys have seen The Raid. I don't think either of you would like its Chinese action film, but they're like some of the best stunt people on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no fight with me. The stunts in this movie were incredible.
Yeah.
That's just fact. It was. I'm gonna give it.
I liked the knife fight in the beginning when they were throwing knives at each other.
That was okay.
Well,
Yeah,
the,
I like
the library
just-
library scene with the books.
Yeah, the book was weird.
It's
I mean, you could,
I had some weird like trying to figure out my own brain during this movie.
Was
I
it
was like,
confusing because you didn't see the second one?
no, because I read like a detailed Wikipedia thing on it. But just while I watched the stunts, I'd be like, watch this stunt, and then I literally, when you're nodding asleep and you're trying to fight sleep, but then you catch yourself and your head falls. That's
Yep.
me trying to watch a prolonged action sequence. I really cannot care less, and that's just something like in me, like from little
that's
kid
a you
on.
thing.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, it's a you
watch
thing.
when they were doing the motorcycle sequence. I was like, watch it, and then I was like, I just kept nodding off and doing something else. Action does nothing for me.
Yeah,
But-
I'll be honest. I can remember scenes from the other two which I loved. I don't
Like
think
the cavern scene in 2?
in 2, I think him getting the car.
Ooh, that was good too. I
That
just
that
thought the
sticks out
whole
as
like
incredible.
as he hid guns throughout that cavern for when he was fighting his way back.
It was okay. It wasn't great in my opinion only. This one I can't remember much except for the when they realized that for some magical reason all the assassins came in decked out in vibranium from the Marvel universe and they couldn't shoot them. But that was kind of weird, and so they went back and they got tank-busting shotgun rounds. And the one thing that entertained me was the sound, because it was a cool sound.
Oh yeah,
And it was
that's
like,
another
ding!
thing these movies do great is like they make guns sound fucking loud like guns should.
Yep.
And they also, I know
I
they
mean,
get
it
a
sounds
ton of
different.
praise. They get a ton of praise online because they actually have characters reload, and like if they pick up a gun that could only hold 7 bullets, the gun in the movie will actually
Yep.
only shoot 7 bullets.
And actually, that actually really pissed me off because that made you very aware of the value of each bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were scrambling to get magazines to pick up here, and why waste 5 rounds of shotgun into the one guy's face just because he's falling down? It just they tried to be a little bit more logical in that, and yet they just were completely reckless.
But
with the
I think
bullets.
it's just like these people are so good at doing what they do. They know like the value of a bullet, but also they're like, if I run out of bullets, I'm gonna just find another way to do the job.
I understand that. I'm not going to fight you on what the thought process is behind these fake stunt people shooting a guy 17 times in the throat. But I'm just saying when they make the choice to like actively point out the magazine shifting and the bullet counting,
And like the gunshots underwater is the first time
Yeah.
I've seen movies like show that correctly.
but when they blatantly waste them, it kind of makes you think, that was a little silly.
Out of all the
Doesn't bother me.
out of all the actors that like the prominent ones, Keanu had to have the least amount of lines, right?
He has to be the least spoken leading man in Hollywood.
Which, again, I kind of love because it's kind of just making fun of like all the plots from like the 80s action movies where like they had to like contrive some way for like all this to happen, and this they're like, no, he's just a killer. We don't need to like give him scenes talking because that's not why people are coming here. For the most part.
If I had to
don't
make
know.
assumption,
I mean,
it-
I would rather like Point Break and Speed and like all those action movies that have like story and plot and dialogue.
But I don't think that it's like not even those action movies. It's more like the Stallone ones and the Arnold ones.
if I had to make an assumption, it'd be when they hired Keanu to do the first one, they were watching Point Break and all that, and they were like, "Oh, so he can act. We need mostly action because the main character is going to be like mourning and just pissed off and not saying much, whatever." And then when they found out that he really couldn't deliver a line to save his fucking life, I'm gonna need more guns.
Well, that was like again making
No,
fun of
Dave.
catchphrases, and because that's the thing from the first Matrix movie.
Dave,
direct line.
don't defend Keanu Reeves' complete inability to deliver a line. You
Oh,
can't-
I thought he was perfectly fine in it. Like, I don't think he's an
he
amazing actor,
sucks.
but he wasn't bad in this.
Oh, he sucks so much. When he opens his mouth, it takes you right out of like, oh, this is a great assassin actor. Oh, he's got a little bit of mental disability.
I disagree with that, like, on
I don't.
every level.
Oh, I don't.
Isn't
I
he
think
known
I-
as a bad actor? But like a really great guy, but like a bad like actor?
He's known as like a saint. He's a great guy, but yeah, he can't act.
I don't
worth
think
shit,
he's
and
known
getting
as,
worse.
like, a bad actor. I think he's
He
known as, like, not a
absolutely is.
great actor.
They made a movie making fun of his name because they made a movie called Keanu of a kitten because it's hilarious because he's such a bad actor.
I don't
That
know.
has
if that's why
nothing
that
to do
name-
with... That's not why...
It's exactly why
They named it after him because they loved his action movies and stuff. They were like,
it's funny
The
'cause
Matrix.
he's a bad actor.
No, I mean, you might think he's a bad actor, but he is... Like, his movies are well loved.
Go ahead, I'm gonna Google.
Yeah, I agree with
Google.
that. Yeah, I agree with that, but I mean, I don't think he's like the greatest actor.
No, I don't think he's the greatest either, and I don't want to, like, have that as my position. I just think he's not also a bad actor. He's a
Go to IMDb.
perfect middle-of-the-road actor.
IMDb, they have a list. Top 10 worst actors of all time. Number 1, Keanu Reeves. Number 2, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Number 3, Brendan Fraser. Number 4, Ashton Kutcher. Number 5, Chris Klein. That's a great list to be a part of.
Yeah, that
Brendan's
is,
accurate.
that list matches up.
It does.
Dave,
Again-
I'm not saying from my experience. I've read on like line that like he's consensus like bad actor, great guy.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I haven't read that, but okay.
And the ability to do stunts very, very well. We won't take that away from
I
him.
mean, he's got like 10 lines in this movie.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, minimal lines means bad actor. I mean,
I
look
think
at...
it means they cut a lot of his dialogue. I don't think they wrote 10
exactly
lines.
what that means.
I don't think they wrote
No,
10 lines.
I disagree with that because also, like, Fury Road, Tom Hardy, terrific actor. He also only had, like, I think, 20 words in the entire film.
He's
What was in his mouth
fantastic.
sewn shut?
He's fantastic. That Tom Hardy's acts with his eyes. Like Bane, like you don't even need to see all his face. He's a facial actor. Like he's.
But I
top
think
tier.
for an action stunt movie, Keanu is great at acting without lines. Like, it's all body language and actual stunts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel
Anything
like
else?
we're not gonna come to a resolution on this. Keanu Reeves, good or bad.
So can I like go over the plot besides the killing? Like, okay, so he's
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Walk me through.
he's excommunicated from the high
Excommunicado.
what's it called? High
Table.
tower,
High table.
high table. He's got 14 million bounty on his head, and then he goes and gets some gems out of a book. And goes to some lady who runs a ballet yoga class and trades the gems for a one-time favor of sanctuary, and then so that she can always remember that he used his last favor ever from her, she brands him in the back. Then he takes that sanctuary and goes to Holly Berry, who she's managing some hotel, and asks her for a one-time loyalty favor ever, and
She owed
she
him
what?
That was the thing that was introduced in the second movie.
She owed him a supreme favor.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, you can't say no favor.
Yeah. So, but are we getting the theme here? It's just like
Yes.
a different way to do the same exact thing you just did.
Yes.
Okay, so she owes him the favor, and then they get in the fight. They find the person who says go to the desert. He'll help you out. They go, so that happens. She leaves him. He's in the desert, finds the guy who must have the best internet connection in the world in the desert, says, what do you want? He says, I want to live long enough so I can be alive to remember the love I had with my wife. He says, okay, that's cool. You have to cut your finger off. And he says, okay, sure. So he cuts his finger off.
No fight at all. No argument.
Yeah.
No questioning.
Goes back to New York City, and the high table has hired Zero to kill him. And for some reason, even though he's excommunicado, he has sanctuary once he touches the steps. Even though he's excommunicado,
It's like when he was in Morocco or wherever he was, Casablanca. It's up to the manager of each location to decide if they actually want to excommunicate him or give him.
No, they can't harbor him, but
Zero
they will
dude,
allow him. They'll allow him to come on, but they won't have to keep him on there.
Okay. And then
it's very simple, Jimmy. Come on.
Him and Winston decide they don't want to kill each other. So the high table lady says, all right, well, this hotel's shut down. It's no longer a free space. Then they get into that huge fight where they're fighting so long no one wins that they just say, let's call a truce. Then they call a truce, and then eventually Winston just shoots him. Is that the whole plot?
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Word for word, actually.
See, I paid attention.
Oh, yeah.
You did.
Yeah, so that's
a
bad movie.
Yeah, and also the fact that he had to cut off his wedding finger. The whole point you want to stay alive.
It's like it's written by an 8-year-old, man.
You want to stay alive to remember your wife and to honor your wife, but yet you're not only cutting off your ring finger, but you're also giving him your wedding band, which seems counter to what he wants. Am I wrong there?
Well, I think it's like the physical object doesn't mean as much as being alive to remember her.
Dave, you are a master spin zone on shitty movies. I'll give you that. You're right there with a good answer. I mean, that's fine. I'll buy that answer, but I would never have thought to think that.
That just seems like the most simple answer. For these movies, you guys just whatever the most simple reason is, that's why.
If I had to think in my head what the simple answer was, it was like, oops, you forgot that was a ring finger. I already did it. It's already gone.
I don't know. I think that's the most dumb answer, not the most simple. That's not
That's
always
pretty
the
close.
same.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Stupid
All right.
movie.
You want to rate it?
Sure.
John, you can go first.
Popcorns?
Yeah, let's do popcorns. I was going to abstain from popcorns because
It's not your...
It's clearly
movie
not my
at all.
movie. But we'll see what John says first. So John, you can go first. What's your popcorn?
It's not as low as you think, probably. I'm giving it a 3. Because I did enjoy a lot just sitting there. I'm able to turn my brain off and just watch stunt porn because it's
so cool to see.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It is to a degree. But I also like content with it, and the content failed me. So I give it slightly over 50%. So I'm giving it 3.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Works. Dave, what are you giving it?
5. I mean, I can turn my brain off for these movies.
Okay.
So it's a perfect you sit down and just are entertained for 2 hours.
All right. I'm gonna not abstain. I'm gonna give it my 1, and that levels it out at the 3.
Fair.
Okay.
Dave, I'll be honest. It's not a reflection of you that you enjoyed this. I'm happy you enjoyed this, but
I mean, most people who see these do it.
no, I know, and I've been arguing with my friends too already. But if you had to put it in rankings with the other ones, is it number 2?
I would give number 1 a 4. I thought number 4. Number 1 I didn't ever wanted to leave. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
4. I mean,
number 1 is
the
only one I'd say is legitimately a good movie, and then the others
Yes,
are
it
just
is.
fun.
And I would have given number 1 a 5. I probably would have given the second one a 2.5, 2. So this one's a little bit better than that one, but
No,
I mean,
see, I'd give like this one a 5 and the first one a 5, and then the second one like a 3.5.
I'm just telling you, my baseline is there because I did enjoy the first one. I just couldn't overcome the fact of him going to the fucking desert looking for an elder.
All right, let's do
That's me.
let's do critical.
Critical. It's low. Not 20s low by any means. I want to say 55.
Oh wow, that's lower than me.
Really?
Yeah,
Surprising.
I have
I
it.
gave it 55. I took away because story sucked, and story is a huge chunk of my ratings. I'm a story guy, but I did love the action. I loved the choreography. I loved the use of. I think I gave them a lot of credit for the use of how they did things, and they did a lot of great things. But the shitty story, and then the shit bag acting.
I'm just gonna say, last week you gave a movie with equally a shitty story a much higher rating,
But that
and
story
equally
made at
as
least
bad
a little bit.
acting.
No. Oh, don't you dare badmouth Ryan Reynolds and Pikachu.
Ryan Reynolds was the only good acting in that movie.
He was the lead. The lead is very, very important, Dave. Keanu Reeves was the lead here, and see what happened?
Great film.
No.
that Pokemon story was simple,
But it made sense.
but it
Yeah,
made
I think
sense.
this made sense. You might think it's dumb, but it made sense. None of it didn't make sense.
I think, okay, I'll say this. I took demerit points because based off the first two movies that were set in somewhat of a relatable reality that I could grasp onto, this one jumped the fucking shark entirely.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the second. I just read up on it because I didn't have time. But the world of the first movie and the world of the third movie are entirely different worlds.
They are.
Yes. But I think this is very in tune with the world of the second. Like, the second just made it this huge, crazy world with thousands of assassins all over.
It was a step. So the second one was a step towards this.
Oh, I think the
yes.
second is like what jumped the shark, and this is like, well, fuck it, we jumped the shark, let's have fun.
Yeah, so
I can't get over the
that's not
elder.
a critical movie then. So I was going 65 because what it is trying to do, they do really, really well. So I want to give them credit for the stunts, even though I don't enjoy them. But like story's huge in a movie, and like I said, an 8-year-old wrote this. It is. You go ask your nephew like, what do you think a cool assassin movie would be? And be like, well, and then.
That's fair. I gave it a 77.
Did you
Very
have it
light.
at 77 beforehand?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're that low.
Oh, no.
I think that's a fair score.
Yeah,
for
I mean, when
someone-
we spoke last week, or the other day, about the first one, I said the first one, which I think is the best, is like a low 80s movie. That I'd rate about like 82, 83.
I thought you said you were going to give this one high 90s.
we were fucking with you.
I was clearly fucking with you.
Yeah.
Well, that is a 65% and 3 stars.
Yeah, I think, Dave, you giving it the 77% makes sense because you didn't mind the story or the world, and you think Keanu Reeves can actually act.
Yeah.
So our differing opinions make sense.
And like you said, the stunt teams on these are phenomenal.
Oh, they were.
The camera work in all of them is great too. How things are shot, it's not shaky cam. It's not like quick
A lot of
cuts.
credit.
It's a lot of like static camera, and you're just watching it happen, or like a one shot following him.
Yeah, so I feel bad saying it's a stupid movie because there's a lot of thought and like
But
a lot of work
stupid.
went into
that
it.
doesn't mean like bad in my mind. Like stupid can be fun. Like the Fast and the Furious movies, those are incredibly stupid.
But when it comes to critical, that means bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to be mean, but not. I'm trying to be mean, and since it's bad, it's a bad fucking movie. But I do want to give respect to people who created it because they put in a lot of work in.
So
It's
what
just
do
the
you-
writers failed them.
No, all right, that's fine. This is a perfect segue though into the Rotten Tomato scores. What do you guys want first, critical or audience?
Audience is gonna go nuts over it, I think, because people who are seeing it know what they're getting into.
Yeah,
So what-
like
what-
I would never go watch this and rate it. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
fair.
guess the audience is like a 90 because this is
I'll
so
go 85.
this is so niche. It's
Fair.
so
Yeah, but see,
niche.
it's a third, so they won't say it's better than the first. I'll say the 85.
The audience is at 91.
It's
Okay.
so like,
Critical, what do you think this is? And I will say, this is a well-reviewed movie. It has more reviews, or almost as much reviews, as Avengers Infinity War.
yeah, Critical on Rotten Tomatoes. They don't do it the same way we do our Critical. They judge it for like what it's attempting to be. So I'm going to guess it's also like 80.
Sheehan?
Judging by the way you introduced that, I'm going to say 95.
89.
Split the difference.
Hang on, I'm going to pull up the Metacritic too, because that is like how we do it. It's like
Yeah.
on a... So, hang on.
Metacritic
rating.
is what?
Pulling it up right now. Metacritic for John Wick 3, Chapter 3, Parabellum is...
Jesus.
Loading.
Come on.
Loading. 73.
Okay, where were we at?
65.
So, I mean, 8-point difference. Not that far.
Of the
Fair.
50 reviews it has on Metacritic, it has 43 positive and 7 mixed, 0 negative, though.
Yeah, but ours is technically positive.
Yeah, we did give them respect.
Well, yeah,
They
it
judge
is.
the
I think
shit
on
out of it.
Metacritic, anything over 60 is like a positive.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Or is it 60 to 70 is like the middle one.
Mid-range.
Not positive, yeah.
Okay. Well,
This fall,
what about our boy? What about our boy Ben Affleck? Where does he fit into this mix?
like a hot dog vendor that just pulls a gun out and then gets killed right away.
I could see him being that cameo role as the first guy he fought in the library. 'Cause that guy was a guy from the 76ers.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
So I think they like replace him with Ben Affleck.
What did we give it? I can't even remember what I just said.
65 and a 3 popcorn.
55. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know why this won't organize it.
Back
Well-
of house stuff.
65.7 puts it right above Ocean's 8 and right below Thor Ragnarok.
If I'm just going to say that, I do think that Ben Affleck would be better at the lead.
No. He wouldn't do the stunts.
I think he'd be better at it, though, if he tried.
I just
This,
don't think he would train to do the stunts.
We have this rated better than Detective Pikachu, which I'll agree
Yeah.
with that. I'll agree with that.
There you go.
All right.
Fair.
That ends this episode of Six Pack Cinema. If you love movies and you want to hear us review more, we have an entire back catalog of like 120 movies. If you like Hollywood headline news, new trailers, and movie releases, and Hollywood headlines, then come on, stop by on Fridays because that's when we do that stuff.
We're reviewing Chernobyl, too, along with that.
Chernobyl 2. Follow us on Six Pack Cinema on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and if you go to sixpackcinemapodcast.com, you will get to our website and our store where we have some merch. Thanks, guys, and subscribe, rate, and review. And if you don't, that's cool, but it'd be cooler if you did. Oh, I played the intro instead of the outro.
All right, I'll take it easy.
Doesn't matter. See ya.
Love y'all.